The new AMD Ryzen X570 motherboards are considered top-of-the-order base components for high-end builds. With PCIe 4.0, faster USB, and I/O ports, the X570 impressively notches up the performance to a whole another level against a previous AMD Ryzen X470 and competing motherboards. There are only a handful of good X570 motherboards in the market as of now, and picking up the best among these is not an easy task, especially if your preference is an X570 with a white baser accent. When it comes to the specificity of having a white X570 motherboard that also has to be the best in performance, the list grows awfully thin, and only two recommendations survives. In this detailed guide, we'll tell you all about the two best white X570 motherboards, what they offer, and how brightly do they stand in comparison with each other. Credit goes to Asus for making our dream of having a white AMD Ryzen X570 motherboard come true, because they are the manufacturer of both the recommendations on this too brief list. To get more information on any of these products, check out the links in the description box below for more information, and don't forget to subscribe to Gaming Gadgets Geeks YouTube channel. Starting our list with the Asus Prime X570P. First up, we have the Asus Prime X570P, an excellent X570 motherboard that has a whole lot to offer. This high-end motherboard comes ready for AMD Ryzen 5000 series, 4000G series, 3000 series, 3000G series, 2000 series, 2000G series desktop processors. It can pour out the best performance when paired with the new 5000 series. Power and cooling solutions are AMD's long-known priorities that had them lacking in the first place, but now with every new product, they're reaching new heights of improvement. The Prime X570P has an enhanced solution that includes 8+4 DRAMOS power stages, ProCool connectors, alloy chokes, and durable capacitors for stable power delivery at all times, making it an optimal choice for high-end overclocking needs. The Prime X570P has a lot more power usage than the previous X470, and this requires an efficient cooling system to keep things running without any problem. To tackle the heat, the Prime X570P provides an industry-leading cooling option while giving you complete control over the system with comprehensive rules for fans and AIO pump via FanSpert 4 and/or their acclaimed UEFI. The active PCH heatsink allows a custom fan over the chipset to further the prevention against overheating and throttling. It has 4 DD4 memory slots that can facilitate a maximum of 128 GB of memory that can be enhanced all the way up to 5100 MHz. The dual-channel memory architecture and the Asus Optimum allow you to unlock your memory's full potential, especially if overclocked. One of the most high-praised and acclaimed features of this motherboard is what the X570s are well known for, the next-gen connectivity. The Prime X570P provides unmatchable flexibility and lightning-fast connectivity with the new PCIe 4.0, dual M2, and USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports. The PCIe slots are protected by a safe slot solution, which increases the retention force and shearing resistance with metal reinforcement. The back panel offers a couple of USB 2.0 Type-A, a pair of USB 3.1 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A, and 4 USB 3.1 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-A, along with a single HDMI graphics port that supports HDMI 1.4b with a maximum resolution of 4096 by 2160 at 24 Hz, 3.5mm audio ports, and a Realtek RTL8111H Ethernet port, protected with an Asus LAN guard, and a nice addition of a single PS2 port. Realtek S1200A powers the audio ports, an 8-channel sound profile, further enhanced with dedicated audio PCB layers and premium Japanese-made audio capacitors. For storage, you are allowed to expand your capacity with up to 6 SATA 3 and an M.22 socket 3 with M-key. The two-way AMD CrossfireX technology allows multi-GPU setup. The overall attire of the X570P is very bold and industrial, and the design is as efficient as it is good-looking. This motherboard in white looks incredibly eye-catching, especially with the help of built-in LED lighting. With Aura Sync and addressable Gen 2 RGB headers, this can look even better. At number 2, it's Asus Prime X570 Pro. When AMD introduced their processors for the Ryzen 3000 series, we looked at boards from everyone except Asus. We have always been a fan of Asus's Prime series for motherboards. They always seem to give you what you need without all the extra stuff you can't use. By doing this, they can keep the price of the boards reasonable as well. Another good thing to note is that many high-end features from their ROG and Strix lines have descended on the Prime boards. Asus does not change their Prime board's full style from the X470 series, so it has a black PCB with silver heatsinks, a white I/O, which is used to cover the chipset fan. The whole board design is very clean. Starting with the CPU socket, we definitely have an AM4 socket for AMD. The X570 motherboard will support AMD Ryzen 2nd and 3rd generation processors. Around the CPU socket, you have your own power delivery features covered with large heatsinks. Asus uses Phase 6, 4+2, VRM. Asus uses 3 power levels in each V-core phase. Each of these power levels is 50A, so in each V-core phase, it has 150A. So in total, you have a total value of 600A for V-core. Asus uses alloy mixtures and solid capacitors. Climbing to the top of the board, we see the I/O cover, which looks nice, and filters to sit on top of the VRM heatsinks, making everything look like a single piece. Above the board's left is your CPU power connection, with your standard 8-pin EPS connector and an additional 4-pin if needed. Moving on to the top right corner of the board, we find 4 titles. They are for your CPU, a I/O pump, and the last one is a 4-pin RGB theme. 4 DDR4 DIMM sites support up to 128 GB of DDR4 4400 OC memory if we come to memory locations. At the board's edge are another standard 4-pin RGB head, a small power button, 24 ATX power connections, and a USB 3.2 Gen 2 internal connection. The downgrade board has 6 SATA 6 GB per second ports. These ports are controlled by the X570 chipset and support RAID methods 0, 1, and 10. As we descend the board, the chipset fan is visible. The Asus is covered with a white cover, with ventilation holes cut into it. As the X570 chipset uses 3 times as much power as the X470 chipset, you will see many X570 motherboards with active cooling fans. At the bottom of the board, you will find some of your topics and links. From left to right, you have your HD audio heads, COM port header, dual USB 2.0 headers, USB 3.1 Gen 1 header, Asus node header, 4-pin fan headers, 4-pin pump header, 3-pin viewable RGB header, and your front panel headers. Finally, we come to the rear I/O, which has a nice shield attached to it. It's great to see Asus bring this feature down to their Prime series boards. Depending on the connection from left to right, you have a PS2 port, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, DisplayPort, HDMI, 4 USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, some USB 3.2 Gen 1 port, Gigabit Ethernet, and your audio connection. Asus's OS Suite 3 is still their motherboard compatibility software. This app will allow you to fully tune your system and perform other tasks related to the motherboard, all within Windows. Inside, you can see all the essential information about CPU speed and frequency, turbo mode, CPU fan speed, and DG plus VRM. Asus boards have always been functional, and the Prime X570 Pro is no different. In all our trials, there were many comparisons with some of the X570 motherboards that we tested and overused. We captured our Ryzen 9 3900X and received more than 4.3 GHz in all 12 cores. And with that we come to the end of our review. It can be hard to own a white building PC, especially since you can't always find everything in white color. However, there are some things you can easily find in white, such as graphics cards, memory, chassis, etc. However, it isn't easy to find a good white motherboard with the good chipset. Of course, there are many white motherboards available on older AMD and Intel processors, but they are not included in our list of the top 5 white motherboards because you do not need to buy them, as they are on older CPUs. We acknowledge that it can be challenging to decide on our top 5 white mom boards as they are all equally stunning. However, you can make the right decision by keeping your budget in mind. However, if you can spend more money, be our guest. According to us, the best white motherboard for white PC builds unarguably the Asus Prime X570 Pro if you want to know which the best white motherboard is. This product is well designed and designed to meet the processor's requirements accurately.